Hello everyone! Welcome to day 5 of my Countdown to Sale-a-bration video series. I am Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and today I am super excited to share with you this awesome Touch of Ink stamp set from the upcoming Sale-a-bration brochure. Now, Sale-a-bration is only 3 sleeps away. It starts January 5th, which is Tuesday. And this little brochure is full of awesome free products that you can earn with a qualifying order. Now, I have been sharing products or projects from this catalog all week long. So if you are just tuning in today for the first time, you're going to want to go back and catch my previous videos. But today we are all about the awesome A Touch of Ink stamp set. Now this is a huge stamp set. It's a 17-piece stamp set. It's what we call two-step stamping, which simply means we have outline line art images, and then we have solid images that are designed to stamp over top of the line art images to fill them in with color. Now that doesn't mean that you can't color these line art images. In fact, you certainly can. These are beautiful images to color, but if you are not into coloring, you can easily stamp and create really quick, beautiful projects. The other bonus of this set, of course, is that we have sentiments included as well. So I am loving this set. I've been playing around with it quite a bit this weekend, and I absolutely love it. So let me, before we go too much further, see who is joining us today. Let's see who's here. Oh, we've got Louise and Elfie and Gail and Sue and Mary. Thank you all for joining me and coming back today. Some of you have been with me each day this week. I so appreciate that. So let me show you the project we're going to make. I posted this earlier. It is absolutely, like, could this be any more spring? I don't know about where you are, but right now it is definitely winter. We had some snow and freezing rain overnight. It's just yucky outside. So this just reminds me of the fact that one day my garden will have color and be green again, and the hummingbirds will come back. So let's get right to it. I'm going to show you how to make this card. It's super easy because this stamp set makes it that way. So to start, I'm going to grab a stitched circle. So this is cut using the stitch shaped dies, and it's cut from Whisper White cardstock. It is the largest circle from that die set. And we're going to start by stamping our flowers. Now, I am using 2 different shades of pink to stamp my flowers. You could totally do this using one shade where you stamp off for the lighter, the solid image, okay? But I'm going to use 2 shades today. So I'm starting with Rococo Rose for my outline image. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Gail. So we're going to stamp our flower. I'm just inking it up with the Rococo Rose. We're going to stamp it a couple of times on our circle, just like that. It's such a beautiful image. So we'll set that one aside, and then I'm going to bring in my Blushing Bride ink, and this is the solid image stamp that corresponds to the flowers. So you're going to see when you go to stamp over top, it's not going to line up perfectly. It's meant to look kind of like a watercolor sort of look. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. That's the way it's designed. Makes it super easy because you don't have to worry about lining it up perfectly. Gotta love that. All right, so that is our solid image. Then I'm gonna come in with this little spatter stamp. I love stamp sets that include spatters. They are one of my favorite images to use because it adds awesome texture to just about any project. So I'm gonna stamp these little spatters using soft seafoam. And they're just gonna kind of go in and around my flowers. Just like this, just adding a bit of texture and just filling in the background a little bit. Okay, so easy, right? So easy. Giselle, I love this stamp set as well. It's a beautiful one. Okay, so that is it for our circle. We're gonna set that aside, and then we're gonna stamp our hummingbird. So I have here a little scrap of Whisper White, and I've got the outline of the hummingbird. So we're going to stamp the hummingbird in smoky slate ink. Now this pad is getting a little bit dry, so I've got to just make sure I get good coverage on my hummingbird. So we'll stamp him over here. Okay. And then we're going to bring in the solid image stamp, but instead of just applying a solid single color, we're actually going to use a couple of different colors here. So I'm going to bring in some sponge daubers, and I'll show you how to ink this so you get sort of multicolored stamping. So I'm going to start with my Rococo Rose, and I'm going to grab my Rococo Rose dauber, and I'm just going to take and apply a little bit of the Rococo Rose sort of along the belly, or where the belly will be, and the throat, sort of the bottom underside of my hummingbird. So that is that. Next, I'm going to come in with some soft seafoam. Make sure I get my right dauber here. And we're going to dauber all over the rest of the hummingbird with the soft seafoam. Okay, so we're going to get all of them. You won't see much ink going on. This is a really light color. But trust me, it's there. Maybe if I put it against the white, you'll see it. Yeah, it's starting to show a little bit. Okay. Then I'm going to add a little bit of, you got it, Louise, a little bit of fussy cutting after this. But before we do that, we're going to add a little bit of Granny Apple Green, because I want to sort of accentuate the wings a little bit and the top of the head. Okay. So you can see the Granny Apple Green shows up a little bit better. Oh, thanks for sharing, Elfie. I hope they enjoy it. Okay, so I'm now ready to stamp. I'm just going to huff on that to make sure that my ink is wet. And I'm going to stamp right over top of the line art hummingbird. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love this stamp set. So easy. All right, now we're going to do a little fussy cutting. All right, this is not a difficult image to cut out. We'll just get rid of our larger bits of scrap. So I like to kind of come in along the beak to start, and we're just going to follow. I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border as I go around. You're going to notice as I'm fussy cutting that I am moving my paper rather than my scissors. Okay, that's one of the secrets to success with fussy cutting. And I'm not even going to try to get in between all those tail feathers. I'm just kind of ruffling the edge there. And then again, I'm going to come around, moving my paper. Same thing with the wings. I'm not going to try to, get in between all of those feathers. We're just going to cut around. This is not a difficult image to fussy cut at all. Get rid of that excess and then come down and around the head. And back down along the beak. Now, when you're cutting a really narrow bit like this, I like to put my finger kind of alongside it just to help it, give it a little bit of strength as I'm coming around there. And then I'm just going to round the beak a little bit. And there we go. So simple to fussy cut. Don't be afraid of fussy cutting. I know even the name fussy cutting sounds fussy, but it really isn't. It's not hard at all. Okay, so we have our hummingbird, we have our flowers. Now we're ready to assemble. So for my background, I used a piece of the Oh So Ombre DSP. I cannot get enough of this stuff. It is gorgeous, gorgeous paper. This is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Oh, I should probably mention that this is also another Sale-a-bration freebie. This is a level 1 freebie. I don't know if I mentioned, this is a level 2 freebie. So the paper is free with the $60 order. The Touch of Ink stamp set is free with a $120 order here in Canada. Okay, so 5 1/4 by 4 inches is my DSP size. Then I have another piece of the solid Oh So Ombre DSP, and I've embossed it using the awesome new painted texture 3D embossing folder. Oh my stars, this is a gorgeous folder. I'm like addicted to it. So this piece is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 inches, and it's going to go right across the middle of my cardstock. So we're going to apply a little bit of adhesive to the back. And actually I didn't put it right in the middle. I put it 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom, so it's a little bit off center. So we're going to just line that up using our grid paper. Grid paper is the magic bullet to get things straight. Okay. Now I want to talk about this ribbon for a minute. So this ribbon is actually from the Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack from the annual catalog. And it is white. But the awesome thing about this ribbon is it colors beautifully with your Stampin' Blend. So I wanted Granny Apple Green ribbon to coordinate with my card. So we are... Oh, you're getting the live feed interrupted. I hope that's not on my end. Peggy, I really hope. I have instructed everybody in my family to be off Wi-Fi, so hopefully we're okay. So all I'm going to do, this is the light Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blends. I'm using my brush tip, and to color my ribbon, I am just simply running the brush tip over my white ribbon. Like, it's that easy. It's amazing. And because this is alcohol ink, it soaks right through the ribbon, so you don't need to worry about coloring the other side. It just saturates the ribbon. Now this marker is getting a little bit dry because I've been coloring a lot of ribbon with it. But you just basically run along the ribbon just like that to color it. Okay, and you can certainly use the darker shade if you like. Want something a little bit bolder. I just wanted this really soft Granny Apple Green. I think that's probably as much as I need. So we're just going to stop there. I'm going to give it a second to dry. It dries fairly quickly because of the alcohol in the ink, but we're just going to set that aside for just a minute. And while that's drying, we're going to stamp our sentiment. Okay, so I have this little teeny label. It's so cute. This is from the Ornate Frames dies. Okay, it's a cute little stitched label. And I have my Hello Friend sentiment. So we're going to stamp that in Smoky Slate ink. So we're going to go ahead and ink that up. Now when I'm stamping this, I want to stamp it a little bit to the right so that I have room for my bow. Okay, I'm going to slide this down just a titch. I hope it's still in the view of the camera. I just need to be able to see where I'm stamping. It's always a challenge when you can't get your head right over top of what you're stamping on. All right, so there is my Hello Friends. And now we're going to go ahead and add our ribbon. Oh, before we do that, we're going to add our Vellum Doily. I am addicted to these as well. I love them. So this is actually going to go on. So it's just a little bit in from the left edge. So what I did is I kind of looked at how far the corners were from the top and bottom edge, and I came in that far from the left edge as well. Okay, so it's kind of centered. And then to glue this down, I'm just going to put a little bit of seal to kind of tack it in place. That's going to get covered up when we add our circle. So that's just going to hold that in place for now. And then we are going to go ahead and use our ribbon. So to start, I'm going to make my bow first, just to make sure I have enough for my bow. And then I can always color a little bit more if I need for the front of my card. So to make my bow, I am going to create a loop, hold it in my right hand. So I've got it held between my thumb and my index finger. I'm making a second loop in my left hand. Okay, then I'm going to cross my left hand loop over the right, bring it around, and pull. Now this is quite wide ribbon, so you're going to want to make your loops fairly small so that the ribbon doesn't dominate your card too much. So you just kind of play with your loops to get them the size you want, and then pull it nice and tight for a nice tight gathered bow. There we go. So cute. And then because this is ribbon's a little bit wider, I like to notch them. Hello, Sushir. How are you? We'll get rid of that little bit of excess, and we'll trim this as well. Okay, so there's our bow. And do we have enough? Oh, look at that. Just enough to go across the front of our card. So we'll get rid of the white ribbon. This is going to go across the front, but it's not going to go in the middle. I'm actually going to do it a little bit closer to the bottom. Again, I just like that look. So we're going to grab a couple of glue dots and adhere this. One here. And one here. Oh, it's going fuzzy, is it? That could be a Facebook thing. Sometimes, depending on how busy Facebook is, the feed is not great. Okay, so there we go. Our ribbon is done. We are ready to adhere to our card base. So this is a thick Whisper White card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll fold in half along our score line. Hi, Deb. Better late than never. Hi, Claire. How are you? All right, so now we can go ahead and glue our DSP to the front of our card. So we'll add a little bit more adhesive. What I love about Seal is you can go right over top of that ribbon and it sticks to the ribbon. It's great. All right, so we're gonna pop that on just like that. Okay, and then we can add our stamped circle. Okay, so it's gonna go on kind of right about there. It's gonna get glued with some dimensionals. It's gonna get popped, and then our hummingbird is also gonna get popped. So this is actually a double dimensional card, but that's okay. Dimension's good, right? Right. So we're going to add a few dimensionals to the back of our circle, get rid of our backings, and we'll pop that on right about there. So I'm wanting to center my circle on my vellum doily. So right about there looks good. Okay, and then my hummingbird is going to pop up right on my circle. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals, one on the head and one sort of on the belly, I think. Yep, and then we need a mini on the wing. Okay, because it's going to extend off my circle. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm not putting dimensionals on the part that's going to extend off the edge. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's get rid of our backings here. And we're gonna pop this on. So I want it to look like he's just about to take a drink from this flower. And there he is. Okay. All right. Now we're going to add our little tag. Now this we're going to center on the ribbon. So you see my ribbon? So when I put this on, I want to make sure it goes sort of along with the ribbon. So we'll add a couple of dimensionals to the back of our label. And get rid of our backings. And again, we want to pop this on so that it goes right along our ribbon. And then our bow is just going to kind of tuck in right at the edge of the tag in the circle over top of the ribbon in the background. Okay, to do that, this is because this ribbon is wider, I'm actually going to use 2 glue dots. So I'm going to press the knot and add 2 glue dots side by side. And just pop that on like that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. All right, and then we're going to add a couple of silver metallic pearls because we can and because I like bling. So we'll just add a couple of these guys here. 1, 2, and 3. And there we go. Isn't that so pretty? And doesn't that just make you long for spring? I love these colors. They're so nice and soft. Okay, so that is today's project. Now, before I let you go, I want to show you a few other samples using this awesome stamp set. So this one is essentially the same card, really. All I did is, if you look at it this way, it's basically the same card. I just turned it into a portrait orientation, but it's basically the same. So obviously different color scheme, change up the shapes a little bit, use the leaf and the butterfly instead of the flowers and the hummingbird, but same basic design. So it is totally okay to copy yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with each card you make. Now, this one I absolutely love. This is one that I made just today, and I'm going to post it in a little bit on my Instagram account. But it is absolutely gorgeous. Look at this beautiful ribbon. I actually made this card because I saw this ribbon. I just unpackaged it for the first time today, and it is so pretty. It's coming in the new mini. So gorgeous. So here, again, the Ombre DSP is my go-to with this particular stamp set. I just love the combination of the two. Stamped some of the flowers, same way that I did here, using the same ink colors, just looks very different because I'm stamping on colored DSP. And then used another square vellum doily, but cut the corners off so that it looks round. Okay, there's all sorts of different configurations with those doilies, so don't be afraid to trim them down to get different shapes. And then again, a label with another sentiment from the Touch of Ink stamp set, and then some of that beautiful, beautiful Blushing Bride metallic ribbon. I should also mention I spattered a little bit with some champagne mist shimmer paint, and the whole card just sparkles and shines. I thought that would make a really pretty anniversary card. And then this is a swap card that I made recently. Again, cased myself. Okay, so same basic design. Here I used the green Ombre DSP, stamping the leaves instead of the flowers. Instead of ribbon, I used DSP, and then a different label shape with some of the fussy cut flowers around it. So there you go. There are some beautiful ideas for this awesome A Touch of Ink stamp set. So that's it for me today. I'll be back again tomorrow with yet another sneak peek in my Sale-a-bration Countdown series. And thanks so much for joining me today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.